Hello Art2. We are going to be learning how to use these pieces of material. This is where I got from, you get these when people get new glasses, they want to discard these pieces of material. Don't let them. Keep them. They make great smudgers. And I'm going to show you this. We're going to make a cloudy day. And you don't need very much of this. You have to be very careful because if you use too much, you're going to have your paper extremely dark. So you want to very gently tap in just a few granules on there. This is graphite that is used for doorknobs, let's see, metal in that may not be working very good. Okay, I'm going to create a storm, so that's why we're doing this vertically. And I'm using this rag so I don't get it all over my fingers. Now, sometimes people really like to have their fingers in the middle of it. Sometimes I do, but for such large areas, I really don't. My inspiration to continue working on this is a gentleman that I caught online. His name is Jono Dry, and he does amazing work. I suggest you look at his. His is so sophisticated and detailed. He is absolutely amazing. He says that a lot of his difficulties that he had in life came to a halt when he started discovering his skills in art, and it calmed him down. Okay, so now we have our storm. When rain comes, we always see these striations of vertical lines, and this is what we're going to see in the background. So I'm wanting to have different variations of shading. I'm pushing down where I want it to be, and then I'm just gently smudging. Okay, so we have a storm coming. Now, if you want your area to be a little bit lighter, let's say I went down too far, I want my mountains to be up in here. So I'm just going to take my knead eraser and I'm going to very gently figure out how my mountains are going to look. And let me put it this way, that I hope Jono does not get mad at me for using his name, but he is an amazing artist. Check out his channel. Give him a like. He is one of the most famous pencil artists I have ever seen. His pieces are absolutely amazing. There's a little bit of surrealism in them. And realistic images. Oh gosh, I love his work. Okay, now I have taken my eraser and I've used up a lot of it, so if I go and rub it on somewhere else I may end up smudging it, so I need to clean it out. And I'm going to stretch out my knead eraser. You will know when your knead eraser is absolutely done for when it breaks off just super easy like that and you can't get the stretch you need. You want to be able to stretch it out as long as possible. That's what helps clean it. And if it breaks just a little bit like that, that's okay. You want that stretching. That stretching helps clean all that. Okay, I've gotten that cleaned out. I'm going to use a regular eraser to form my clouds up here. Now, I thought clouds were great. Rainy clouds are, yes, but I want to make sure that I have my area of where my clouds are going to be down in here. Okay. I am most generally, a cloudy day will cover pretty much the whole entire scene. Now I have the top part that is a little bit closer, but I'm going to have a few little clouds in the background that are going to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to kind of put a few of them in here. Now the reason for that is when I go back over my striations here, I'm just going to cover this cloud. It looks like it's in there, but it's not. It's just a little bit further away. But I can identify them, and I know they're in there, so that's the purpose of doing that. Because I want these a little bit darker than the ones in front of me. So I'm going to work on my darker ones. I recommend that if you do not like getting dirty, that you take an extra hard cardstock and you lay your hand and work. Otherwise you will end up with graphite all over your arms. If you don't care, don't worry about it. Okay, now I didn't make these any particular. I just basically was erasing an area. And I left some of it dark. So now I'm going to take my darkest shading pencil, which is a B8, which is really better for what my purpose for it is. And then I'm going to create my clouds a little bit darker. Okay, I'm going to use my smudging pencil. I want these to be a little bit darker because they're in the background. So I'm going to put in a little bit darker area in here. More than I do the ones above it. Okay, now I'm going to fill in this area with my deep dark clouds for the background. Because we've got a cloudy day. And we're going to work on several different seasons. So this is our rainy day. Okay, now we have clouds that are a little bit closer to us. And we're just going to do a lighter pressure. I pushed really hard on this first part. Now I'm not going to push very hard, and I'm just going to add the graphite from here to this other one. Now this top one may look like it's not fully developing the rain yet, and you want you don't want it completely gray. You want to have the variations of color, because those variations allow you to add in wherever it's dark. That's where you're going to put in those darker part of your clouds. Okay, so this one's developing, unlike the one that is behind it, that it's as if it's coming this way. I'm using those lighter areas to my advantage. I'm letting them dictate where my darker areas are going to be. So I've got a storm cloud that is coming up. Now, the reason you're going to be seeing this whole entire video is because I want students to be able to follow along, and you can always make it go a lot faster if you need to, because this one's just too easy and I'm blabbing. That's okay. I'm going to rub it in again because I don't want it to look like it's got pencil marks. I want it to look like it's actually got storm clouds in there. I don't want to see the pencil marks yet. Okay. Now, we may have some a little bit further on clouds that are darker, and I'm just going to pull them down as if they're further on back. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually go this direction. so that I'm pulling those rain clouds over the top. Now, that makes that feel of that rain. Now, to also help with some of that is in some of this lighter area, we might actually have some sunlight coming through, and that's what makes it really cool, is you may have a really bright cloud that is opening up and allowing some of the sunlight to come through. So your clouds will have some little light areas. But with that comes those little nice streams of sunlight coming through. And you want to pull it down. Okay? That's what makes it look so awesome, is to have that little bit of sun rays in there. Because it's coming through the clouds. It's developing. But this frontal area has just a little bit of sun coming through it, so it's pulling. Now, you don't want it to cover your whole entire sky. You want it just in certain areas. You don't want a whole lot. Because if you overwhelm it with a bunch of lines, you're not going to have your storm looking like it's supposed to. So let's say that this has got a really bright cloud to it. You may have more sun rays here. Okay, your sun rays should always be your last part. Now again, I'm going to erase my mountain area. Okay, it actually looks better that I've done this smaller, and I'm not really liking the way this looks. So I'm going to dim it down some, as if it's not truly, I'm going to keep it, but I'm not going to completely erase it. Okay, so now I'm going to thin down my knead eraser, and then I'm going to make some really tiny rays to go through it that come right along with those lines, because then they look better. I like the way these are a lot brighter and they are thinner. So this almost looks like it sits back just a little bit and there's a little bit more light. And then we have some sunlight coming through the clouds here. That's what's neat about these knead erasers, is you can actually do things like this, unlike if you had a big bulky eraser, you'd have to. Okay, so now we've got a dark area here. Let's make this storm cloud where it looks like it's really heavy rain coming down right here. So I'm taking my B8 and I am holding it at an angle. You notice I do not have it like this. I have it loose so that I can actually allow it to do its own lines, and I'm not creating pressure on it. But I want in the background to look like it is actually creating a storm. Me, I love landscapes a whole lot more because they're very forgiving, very easy to work with. And I want these to be just a little bit brighter because I'm going to smudge those other ones in. Okay, your sky area should always be what you work with first. Okay. I would not recommend that you have a straight line. You always want to have these little bumpy lines, and you want to have areas that do not have a whole lot of clouds through them, because this breakup allows it to look like there's just small segments of clouds. If you have large areas of clouds, then you may have some problems with it all looking uniform. There is no one wrong way to make clouds, but if you make them where they look like kindergarten clouds. Okay, I have a problem with my paper, so I'm going to use that and make it into something else that's supposed to be there, because I do not like, I think it's just a paper malfunction. So if you have something like that, use it to your advantage. Don't just throw away the paper. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm lighting up some of the area of the clouds to make them look like they are actually joint clouds, and then I'm darkening them back up because I don't want it to look like they are out of place. I just want them to look a little bit different, as if they're breaking up some of these deeper, darker clouds. Okay, so that is the end of our sky lesson, of our rainy clouds. We will work on the mountain next time. If you are still wanting to play with it to make it a little more detailed, then talk to me. Or if you are using this for you are not my student, then talk to your teacher about helping you create your landscape to have a little more detail to it. But this is the starting of a really good piece, and then when I come back, you will see more detail to it, and then you can go from there.